Anybody in the 80s remember a little cat on the phone with big connections and no connections, and everybody's like, how can that be in New York? And you were like, actually, it's a program, it's an old program we kind of forgot about, and we're reinstalling, and because we're in for a not a pretty sight. Or at least that's what they're telling us from Mount Olympus or Mount High, and apparently she's the only one that knows. So apparently there are children in the world, well, two of them, that are fitted, whatever that means, like biblically. So here's the thing from a U.S.A. in the Department of State, New York. There's a stray cat program. There was a bunch of really stern gentlemen that would be my adoptive grandparents, and they would help out however they could in not living ZZ with the top shelf, but living SS and knowing things. So I think that's one of our mottos in whatever. I don't want to get into family names. D'Amato, then somebody else gets angry, and grandpa's. So I'm just a stray cat. I'm staying quiet. So we have, right, Cataruzza. Nobody's heard of the name. Great. It's a Cesore, whatever. It's actually higher than that, but this is as high as I go at the moment. So I'm in Stop and Shop speaking to one of the local white ladies. And I asked her, I said, do you live around here? And she said, right outside of Starbucks while we were online. And she said, yeah. I said, so, big changes around here, huh? I said, my aunt lived over in Belrose, I said, and I had a friend who lived over in New Hyde Park her entire life, first house that she ever moved into, after where she was born, where I lived. I was like, so tell me, what do you, like, how, she's like, well, I've only been here 20 years, I didn't grow up here. I was like, okay. I was like, and so tell me, how's the neighborhood? She's like, well, I mean, when we moved in 20 years ago, it wasn't like this. She's like, and I was like, do you have like a time frame within the last 20, like the towers fell 20 years ago. So it's almost like the floodgates went down and Noah's Ark picked up and ran over the water. Any idea, like, did you feel it? I mean, because like in district and zoning, you don't feel the first like few. And then all of a sudden you look around one day and you're like, wait a minute. And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, right. Any idea on a time on that? Because now, see, when I was talking to, as stray cat, to all my grandfathers with very stern chutzpah or whatever word they appreciate, I always said, listen, gentlemen, living in the Jewish and Christian nation. I mean, I know most of you are Christians, but remember in Caesar's territory in Rome, in Italy, before we moved all of us to New York, right, because we're all living in the Stray Cats, New York Empire State, for the Empire of Empire of Rome, without Romer. So this way we can fix the future and not have a problem. So here's what's going on in local New York for butane and pears, PEARS. The Christian nation, predominantly U.S.A. that we live in, is under attack. Now, I have some friends with some Jews, the kind that are really angry at a name of Hitler. Just so this way I have a group and a grip on those I can hold on to. The ones that look like you are synagogue Jews. Please do not use the word temple. I know in anthropology they use the word temple intermittently and they change it. Outside in like super smart places where they're not SS smart, but they've got some kind of educate smart that New York did not provide the kids in public school. So when they use that fancy English accent. Everything just sounds like sugary sweet. But here's the thing. The Jews that were mad about Hitler burning them in Poland, not so much. Those looking Jews are synagogue Jews in New York. For the only, you might call it temple. Shh, don't get angry. When you speak to the Christians, it's synagogue. I'll tell you why. Because there is real temple people from ancient temples that don't look like the angry Hitler burned me Jews in Europe and don't look like the happy Christians in New York. So we have a very real linguistical issue with protecting your neighborhoods and your investments in whatever you like to do for a living and like to live. So this just New Hyde Park happens to be one of the afflicted areas of this new exotic affliction with other people's Blink-182 animals. It is a large oxen type butchery, and they have temple, but for ancient sacred ones, not in a Torah format or style. So that's where when you speak to a Christian, especially like one of the really stern dads in the House of Pain that I love, which is world security for a little stray cat who has nothing but like hopes and dreams that I could get all of my chutzpah stern dads in one phone meeting maybe, and we could all just agree on what we're going to do for one another, so this way we don't hurt one another and we stand up against the non-synagogue but the temple elsewhere that the sugary sweet Britain Knights are confused themselves when they hear, because they teach things wrong. And then it's getting, oh my god. And House of Pain does not just mean Ireland, by the way. It's a Clover special. I'm Vampirus Drusillus, and I have the four-leaf clover is who I'm fitted for. He's the four-leaf clover. I'm the three-leaf clover because I was born on the third. Whatever. Right, that's how that works in Stray Cat. That's really... I like them. I mean, I was their doll, this is their new grand doll, that they all shared and could agree, one grand doll, that would keep them SS informed, so they didn't go ZZ top shelf sleeping in this new, wait, what kind of religions are these? I never heard of such a thing. You usually don't till it's on top of you. And then you're like, how the hell do I clean this up? Right. So there we are. It has to do with all those cars that you really liked and making all that really fancy glass to go in all those cars. You gave the world pot of money to a whole new pot of problems that were not Jewish. A temple. No, they were a temple of ancient sacrifices that are now thinking that they belong in the state of New York, and the little cat is still saying, no, you're not. Some of your ancients, I booked you over